All right, everyone, welcome to a Player Driven Live. I am really excited about this. This is a concept I've been wanting to try out for a while, and we're going to see how it goes. Today, we are going to be doing a stream with Leoni from Mooncolony.
Hello.
Mooncolony. Mooncolony is a UK-based concept art and illustration studio renowned for delivering premium 2D art and 2.5D animation to some of the world's biggest game franchises. Founded in 2016 by Emra El Malsi, sorry, I butchered that, but Mooncolony has evolved from a small collective of artists into a global powerhouse of over 100 professionals collaborating across multiple time zones. The studio is best known for its contributions to major titles including Hearthstone, World of Warcraft, Diablo 4, League of Legends, Clash Royale, Brawl Stars, Overwatch 2, and many, many more. Moon Colony's services include concept art, illustration, character design, marketing art direction, and 2.5D animation. With a reputation for creativity or creative precision and world-class quality, the studio helps its partners craft unforgettable worlds and characters through visually striking storytelling. Leoni, thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited to test this out. We're going to be trying some video. We're going to be trying some live artwork here. Is there anything you would like to say and introduce yourself?
Yeah, it's great to be here. I miss doing live streams. We used to do them a lot in Moon Colony last year. We are going to get back to that soon. So yeah, it's great to be here, and yep, I'm free to answer any questions you might have about the work we do here at Moon Colony.
I appreciate it. And I am being notified by people that my audio is looping, and I'm trying to learn on the fly what that
Oh,
means. But we will be just plugging along here. I'm not hearing many other complaints, so we'll see if that's the case here. So, yeah, what we wanted to try here, Leonie, is I wanted to kind of understand what art and animation is like from a day-to-day perspective. You know, from player driven, we like to understand game design, we like to understand how it works, but I really want to get an understanding when you kind of get into the weeds. What is it like? So can you kind of tell us, I guess, at a high level, what is animation and art director? What do you take a look at when you kind of get a project handed to you?
uh, yeah, at Moon Colony, we did a lot of cinematics already. And before I joined the team, even like we were already doing a bunch of those. In the past, we would get most of the pre-production done and focus only on the illustration side and polishing very beautiful illustrations, and then handing to uh, handing back to the client so they could deal with the animation in their end. But after I joined the team, there was an effort that we could bring the pre-production and post-production inside, and we could do the whole thing uh, inside the company. And for me, like everything clicked because I really like animation. I wanted to be an animator when I was younger. So when I saw the opportunity on like, okay, we have a bunch of people here in Mooncolony, very talented artists, but there was a spot that I could take on. Okay, I know a bit of animation, and like I'm also like a illustrator, painter, stuff. So there's a like a gap that I can put myself in. So yeah, I started being more and more involved with the whole process from the beginning. And yeah, right now, like in the ideal situation, what we get from the client is a briefing. Uh, Usually, they already have some kind of script of what needs to happen, and then we will first do like a first storyboard going over all the shots, and then we produce an animatic to see how it looks in movement, and then we progress to a layout stage where we refine the storyboard a bit with images that look a bit more polished. In the case of uh, Clash Royale, that we do a lot of cinematics for, sometimes we do a 3D blockout phase So we get the character models and pose them based on the layout, and then we paint on top. I can show actually in my screen how it looks. If you guys want to see that, I can show what would be like a early storyboard, and what is a layout, what is that 3D pass, and what is the rendering on top. But like each project will be a bit different. Like we will have different necessities for different clients, right? It all depends on the project. But yeah, and then after the illustrations are done, we go to the animation side. We have a team just to do that. And yeah, the only thing that we currently don't do internally is the sound design. I wish we did. Like I also like music and stuff. So if someday if I can contribute with the music also, I'll be quite happy.
That's super cool. Sounds like there's something might still be wrong with the audio on YouTube. We're trying to figure that out. But I'm really curious. Even before, I'd love to be able to see your process, and we'll share it here in a moment, right? And we'll loop some of these videos, right? But to you, let us know about you, Leoni, right? Like, how did you get started in this? What did you some of the tools that you started playing around with when you were younger to kind of start scratching that itch on how to be able to do something like this?
Yeah, it's like I just for context, I'm from Brazil. I live in the countryside in a way, if you would say that, like in the very center of the country, like very far away from bigger cities and stuff. And like when I was young, we did not have a lot of perspective that like I could work in games or things like that, or even like companies that are from other countries. So my contact with art in general started with comic books. So I wanted to do that for a while, but I always loved animation, also like watching a bunch of animation on TV. And I wanted to do that. I did not know how, but I just kept drawing until I went to the time to decide like what type of college I would do, like university. So I chose visual arts, which was like the most uh, similar to just drawing, right? So yeah, I did that. And when I graduated, I did not know what I would do. So I kind of did a bit of everything at the start. I worked with advertisement as a graphic designer. I worked with video editing. And at the side, I was doing courses or like trying to perfect my drawing skills. I did courses on animation, and yeah, I got the chance to work on a animation project, uh, uh, a Brazilian movie that was being produced by the studio that I was making a course, animation course in, and like they needed someone to help with some scenes. So that was my first uh, big illustration work. So I helped animating shadows in a 2D animation project. And my first job with games came a little bit after that. I joined a small company that was producing a card game. So yeah, I did that for over a year, and then got back to freelancing and like did a bunch of stuff. Got back to comics, did a bunch of stuff, and in 2019, I think I landed here at Mooncolony, and I'm here until this day.
Beautiful. I love it. And right now we're playing one of the cinematics that you sent over. This one I think that's showing now is for the Berserker in
Yeah,
Clash Royale. And I believe you're one of the main leads on this. And we got a question from Nicholas in our chat
yep.
asking, and cinematics such as say this one, right? How many artists are typically working on a single cinematic at the same time?
Yeah, like I said, it will depend on the scope and like the size of the animation. uh, I think the Berserker is like four different illustrations in a way, like for different scenes. But there are some that we do that are over 30 scenes, you know. So it's like it depends a lot in the scope. Right now we are producing a simpler one that is just like 5 or 6 people working on it because it's a small one. But I don't know, it can get to 20, 30 people or even more if we count like smaller uh, contributions, you know. But it's like it's a big collaborative effort, and like that's the thing that drives me the most to do this kind of project is that I really like to work collaboratively, you know. So uh, when we do digital painting, it's very common for us to spend like 10, 20, 30, 40 hours on a single image painting alone, like because it's a very intense type of workflow, right? Like you have to be around for a long time painting every single detail. And that some people really like that, but for me I prefer being involved in things with other people. So it's nice to be able to join our forces to create something that is bigger than a single artist could do, you know. So yeah,
So
it's a lot of people.
yeah, and so you're breaking this. I've paused it on one single screenshot here, obviously, right? So when you're looking at this cinematic, right, and this is probably really rudimentary, and I just don't realize it. You're breaking this up into multiple scenes, right? So I guess how do you even take a look at that visually and think about, hey, this is going to be X amount of scenes. I'm going to build this out. We have 10 people working on this one. Like at some point, to me, from the outside looking in, it seems like it's going to be too many chefs in the kitchen here, and you start stepping on each other. How it's like an orchestra. How do you make this whole thing sing?
Yeah, I think the the fundamentals, that the bigger one thing that is very important is the production side. So like the production people, that there's always like 1 or 2 people that are making sure that everybody knows what to do in what order. So like huge props to them to do that. And there's also one art director who is overseeing the whole art side to make sure that each image talks to one another. And the role that I feel most of the time is being somewhat of an assistant to the art director, being the lead artist. I will touch the whole process from beginning to end, doing feedback on top of other people's work, or sometimes doing some stuff myself. So I can show on some PSTs how this looks, but yeah, this is the role I feel at the moment, is like being in a way like a sub art director. There were projects that I did both things. I art directed and did the lead role, but usually it's like that. There's someone above me in a way, like in the hierarchy of stuff, taking making sure that everything looks correct. But as a lead, I try to be very hands-on on stuff. And my philosophy is that anything that the artist did, I just try to elevate it and put like 1 or 2 steps forward. So we are always building towards something greater instead of like taking steps back and making huge changes. It's like if the pipeline is working, we should have like a solid pre-production, so we don't have to change like crazy amount of stuff at the end, you know. So yeah, this is the type of thing I do. And the thing that you said about having too many chefs in the in the kitchen, right? Yes, artists are different. Each a person has different tastes and personalities and everything, and there's not like a single way of doing stuff. But to for a project like this to work, we need to respect the vision that the art director or the animation director has to the project. So what they say is what we'll do, right? To make sure that things look consistent.
I worked in a lot of technology companies, and one of the biggest issues they always face is communication. Communication's
Yeah,
poor. Communication's poor, right? You use
yeah.
Jira, you use Slack, you use this tool. Like, what are the tools you guys use internally and your team use to kind of stay on the same track and understand what you're working on?
Yeah, is actually a pretty big problem that we face. Like I think all companies face that in a way, but it's a obstacle that we have because like we have a team that is spread across the world, so like very different time zones. So it's not always possible to gather everybody in a meeting and making sure that everybody's in the same page. So it can be challenging, but we do our best again with the production side to be very careful with like how we describe stuff, have like very detailed briefing for stuff, and making sure that we have open channels for people to communicate if they have any issues. So it's something that we are always improving upon, I would say. But for myself, I like, for example, like I said, the collaborative side. So the most we can just grab, like, get everybody into a meeting like this one, for example, and we just do it together and like uh, answer questions on the spot. I think it's the best. Uh, in the last project I was involved, it was kind of good because a lot of the team was in a similar time zone, so we could do that more often. And I'm always encouraging people to be very open and very communicative, so like they don't waste 1 or 2 days working on something that is not going the right direction that we need. Yeah, but it's always a challenge, let's say.
For someone like yourself, right? When you're given the kind of the prompt of what you need to build out and kind of that, how hard is it to sometimes not put your thought like I don't know how to word this, but you're stuck kind of in design land, right? All right, hey, it's Clash Royale or something like this, right? Like how do you make sure you stay in your lane but also get to use your creativity? Does that make sense?
uh, yeah, I think so. Like from the client perspective, usually we already have some kind of style that is set, so we can not go out of bounds too much, right? So something like Clash Royale, they have so many artwork already produced, so we don't need to figure out too much what to do because we have examples from the game to use. But sometimes the project needs a bit more uh, of our creativity in like in the design department, concept art and stuff, like we did for the Witch Evolution cinematic. We came up with the style for it, like the whole pitch actually from the start, what the idea would be, the idea of using some kind of puppet show made of paper, the script, everything was done internally. So that's one of the projects that I'm most proud of because I was involved from the start, even convincing the client that doing the puppet theater thing would be a nice idea. And uh, actually, I would like to say that working with Clash Royale is pretty cool because they are always open to our ideas. So if we have some suggestions on how something could be cooler, even like changing the script a bit or whatever, they are always open to our ideas. That's very cool. So Clash Royale and Hearthstone, which are the projects that I work the most, they have somewhat of established style. So we don't need to uh, figure out too much. Like we already have examples of how things should look, right?
So I want to hop into maybe you potentially drawing something for us, but while we do it and before we do, I'd love to get a better understanding for people who are watching that maybe want to get into art and animation. Are there simple tools or maybe a piece of hardware that you use? I see all these cool Wacom, Wacom, whatever it is, drawing tablets and stuff like that. Are there any tools that you thought maybe really helped your productivity and your output, or really made you think of this in a different way?
uh, Yeah, like tools. This is like the classic, but it's like tools are just tools. You can use whatever is in your reach. Like for the longest time when I was younger, my favorite tools were just like a blank piece of paper, print paper, and a ballpoint pen. I still that like this is what I like to draw the most on. But I would say like if someone is just starting out, uh, whatever computer you might have probably is fine to start. Uh, and something like this, which is like a simple graphics tablet. I bought this one recently, actually. I have a very fancy Cintiq screen here in my office, but sometimes I might need to draw when I'm away from my office. So I just bought this cheaper, like the cheapest Wacom tablet you can have. And some people do like the most amazing art with this. So it's like the tools are not as important in that sense. So I think nowadays is the perfect time for to be a like a digital artist and be having access to this type of stuff. Like back in the day when I was a teenager, at least here in Brazil, was like pretty hard to find those tools. But yeah, whatever you can grab your put your hands on. I like drawing with the iPad. Also, the iPad is great. Or maybe like some Android tablets, like the Galaxy Tab, whatever. Any of these can work. And also about software, you don't need a specific software. We use Photoshop and the Adobe suite here at Mooncolony, but there are free versions also of like similar software that you can use at the start. It's no problem.
I love it. Tools are just tools at the end of the day, right? At the end of the
Yeah,
day, it
yeah,
comes down to you being able to use it, right? So just get started, get using it.
yeah,
All right.
exactly.
Let's see if we can see your screen here. Let's see, hide this, show this. I think you're showing the Clash Royale girl right now.
Yeah, yeah. If you see my screen, you probably see
Yeah, just
the.
zooming in here. So now just right here we go. We got another question. We got a lot of people in chat here saying you're a great dude, Leoni. So thank you, Yuri and Mist. Nicholas has a question for artists who want to work for big studios like Moon Colony. Do you think there are better months to send our portfolios, like the middle of the year, to increase our chances of getting the best timing? So when are you guys busy?
I would say that this year it was pretty chaotic. Like in terms of the amount of work we did so much. Uh, and so I don't know if there's like a specific time of the year that is best to send portfolio because I don't work with hiring artists. Like it would probably be a question for the HR team, you know. But I would say that if you send a portfolio that is very good, even if they don't have work for you at that moment, they will save the link for your portfolio to when the time is right to bring you in. Okay.
Well, curious question to kind of build on that is, right now we're in Halloween season. It's live ops. All the Halloween content is dropping. When did you start planning for Halloween? When did all this animation begin?
uh, for Halloween, yeah, it will depend a lot in the type of project, the scale for it, but usually it would be like 6 months in advance. I think we are already kind of aware of the thing, start planning out and do something. But when we end the project, I think usually takes, I don't know, 2 months before it's live. But it depends on the client. Sometimes we did things for Clash that they like published 6 hours before the after it's delivered. You know, it's like okay, that same afternoon of that day we delivered, it's already live because it depends on how much in advance the client let us know about something. So yeah, we are always trying to deliver things on time. I think we did not miss a single important deadline so far, but it's always like a, a struggle, right? To
All right.
uh, make
Appreciate
sure.
it. So we got your screen up when we were taking a look at the Clash of Clans, Clash Royale Archer.
Yeah.
And although she doesn't look like she's doing archery here, what are we doing here? What are we looking at? How do you?
Yeah.
What's your
Let me
brain saying?
show. Yeah, let me show you real quick how it looks when we do that, like the first draft. What is the second draft? And going forward, I have those for the Berserker, so I will show those here. So uh, in this case, the first draft of the drawing was done by Dave, which was the animation director for this show. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'll just sketch what is in my head for what the character will do. And then, based on what Dave did, I did this one, which is the layout. And you'll see that it's pretty close to what the actual image looks like at the end. So let me find it here. Yeah. So after I did this layout here, right? This is enough information for us to send this to a 3D artist to get the model of the character and pose it. So this is the pose, right? So if I maybe overlay this with the pose, you can kind of see how it's like he's trying to respect what we did in the pre-production as much as he can, you know.
And this is all Photoshop, is that right? You're creating all this stuff in?
Yeah, the 3D software, it depends on the artist, but probably they use Blender, Maya, this type of software. But for myself, the work I do, it's mostly Photoshop. So yeah, we went from this step to this, and then the 3D blockout, right? And after we have the 3D blockout, we do painting on top. And this, I did it open. Yeah, this is how it looks at the end with the render on top, like the painting rendering on top, right? So let me just overlay them so you can see how it looks. So yeah, we get a 3D model and we paint on top. And because this needs to move, we will slice it up in parts. And yeah, things like these lens flare things are separate, right? So like we have the hands and the X part, the hair and stuff, like the eyebrows. Like it's all separated, and this is the most fun process. I I promise you, everybody likes to slice characters. Nobody hates it. Okay. But I would say that there's one reason why this is my favorite part. It's doing this. Whoa.
Yeah, wow, there you go. You can make so many memes from this. I love it.
Yeah. Or like be playing around with the model, or like doing stupid stuff like putting the hand in the foot, you know. Like this is what we do internally, but don't let the clients see it, you know. It's
Seeing a
just
lot here.
yeah, it's very fun to just play around with the rig a bit and see how it looks. And like when I'm doing this in Photoshop, this is like just a guide for the animator, right? Like everything is sliced, but I can see how it looks animated if I just, for example, play around with the pivot points here just to see if this movement looks correct and stuff, you know. So for this character, we have 4 different faces for the actual animation, right? So this is what the process would be for Clash Royale in this sort of style, right?
That's so cool to see. And I'm not good at art. I've been messing around with kind of YouTube thumbnails at a minimum. And I always get imposter syndrome, and it's never to the level I want it to be. And I'm curious, when you're sitting in your seat trying to create this, like, do you get that? Like, does it ever hit the mark you want it to? Do you learn that good is good enough? Like, how do you get over that hump of knowing, hey, this is at a good place?
You don't. You just trust the art directors and trust what the client thinks. If he thinks it's good, you said, yeah, okay, it's good. Because we as artists, we are always doubting ourselves, and say, yeah, I think I could do best. But like you can use that as fuel to do better next time, you know. So every time we deliver something, I say, yeah, this is nice, but yeah, we could tweak this or that, could that better, or like maybe there was a part of the process that was a bit tricky to do. So it's like we are always trying to build upon the experience and do better next time. So you kind of need that feeling to be a good artist, I think, because if you are too confident, you can just stifle your progress, you know, like you get to a point and you don't progress anymore because you think you're already good enough, you know. So yeah, being able to uh, oh, I lost my train of thought a bit. But it's like seeing your mistakes and be kind of critical of yourself is important, so you can always progress, you know.
Yeah, no, it makes
So yeah, there's not a point where you just say, yeah, I'm amazing, I'm great, all I do is great, you know. We all struggle, at least me, myself, I it's always a struggle.
no, I get it, right? I think especially when you have clients you're working with and you get their feedback, right? That will help you say, all right, well, this is a good place based on their feedback, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I can't think in anything that you're doing when you get that feedback, it helps drive that kind of process.
Yeah, I'm showing you now some of different style, right?
Yep, we got the witch up.
So yeah, this is the witch cinematic that it's for Clash Royale, but it was to tell the origin story of character, right? So we had to play around with like how do we tell a lot of story in a short amount of time with not without killing ourselves with the amount of work we'll do. So I came up with the speech to the client. Yeah, if we do like a puppet animation, we can convey a lot of movement in the story without having to draw too much, you know. So, for example, the witch starts as a kid and she will become an adult, right? And there's a scene where I think everybody saw it on stream, right? Like we have the passing of seasons and things like that. So it indicates the passing of time. So it's like a very interesting and fun thing to do, you know. Let me show how it looks here in the PSD for the background.
It's just so much fun to look at this content and just like I don't know, these maybe it's just this puppet animation style, or it's just fun to look at it. And I think games can tell so much stories and just its visual look and feel, and like that in itself is just again this whole kick about dopamine, right? And
Yeah.
on every level, dopamine can be hit, right? Dopamine on video, audio, gameplay, all that, and you eat with your eyes, right? And you look at this and you're like, wow, this is awesome. I want to do this.
Yeah. But at the same time, if you're trying to prepare this PSD for the animators, you will choose like you want to end your life because it's so much work. The thing with this is that okay, every single layer will have like multiple versions. So it's like there's a version for each season. It's so tricky, and like the layering part, like there's thousands of layers in this, and a lot of work went into this to animate, you know, like move things, change things. It was a crazy effort, but yeah, I think it looks great at the end. I'm very pleased with how it looks.
Can you give us like the general time frame that this took to create?
I'm not too good at remembering that, but probably we did that in a span of 3 months or so. I think something like that. It was like in the beginning of the year, so my memory can be failing me, but yeah,
All right. So
probably 3 months.
not too bad. You have a whole team here to help you build this out, which is interesting and very cool. We've seen a lot of with the building of community in gaming, right? People want to get people more involved, players more engaged, and one of the things we're seeing more of is fan art being created. And What's it like when you see fan art? Is it something that sparks your creativity? Do you obviously you're not going to get mad at it, but so that's a bad question to ask. But like, how do you? What's the role of fan art, I guess, in community in the industry?
I think it's very important. I know artists that got to work in companies because they did fan art of that particular IP. So in general, fan art is totally fine, and it's also a good way of showing like studios how you would do that character a bit different, for example. Or one thing that I always say to people that want to work as a concept artist, for example, is that you don't have to create a whole world from scratch. To do a portfolio piece, maybe you get an IP like, I don't know, Star Wars, and create your own Jedi or your own alien race or your own ship design, that could fit that world. I think if you do a great job doing that, you have great chances to grab some attention.
I love that.
So yeah, it's like I think a lot of weight is always put into being creative. Like creating things from scratch and like being totally new with stuff. But yeah, we know that that's not the case. Uh, Everything we create is based on something, so you should not be afraid of using references and do fan art and stuff. I think the only thing that you need to be aware of is not copying something and not letting people know where do you took that from. So that might be kind of shady, if you just uh, copy someone else and don't credit the person. So copying is fine, doing fan art is fine, as long as everything is labeled correctly, it's all good.
Cool. I don't know if you want to draw anything live and just kind of
Yeah,
freehand. I don't know if that's a possibility here.
yeah. We don't have plenty of time, but
No,
I
you're
when
5-10 minutes.
when we were just figuring out the technical part here, I just did this very stupid sketch. Yeah, but I can show you how I would grab this and
Yeah, I'd love it. So this,
continue
first
from
of all,
that.
you was this drawn on the tablet you showed earlier? So like, did you hand draw that there? Is that where this process started?
No,
Yeah.
my tablet is right here. You can see kind of the edge of it. It's
Yep.
like a huge 27-inch monitor. So it's like a very fancy tablet. Uh, that one is the one that I use when I'm not
Using a
in
fancy
my
tablet.
office. Yeah. Uh, Sometimes I say that having a tablet like this, like having a car. You can have a very old car and a very fancy car. Both will take you from point A to point B, no problem, if they work, right? But like the difference would be how comfortable is the seat, or like what is the sound of the engine or whatever. But it's like their preferences. Some people, for example, prefer drawing on that simpler tablet than drawing on a screen. I prefer drawing on the screen. I think it's more intuitive for me, but I know plenty of amazing artists that prefer the other type of tablets.
Interesting. As you're kind of starting this here, we got another question in the chat saying you've worked with so many amazing IPs. Is there one that's still on your bucket list?
uh, I don't know. I think I drew some Fortnite fan art. I think it would be kind of cool to design something for them, and maybe doing a 2D animation like we do would be kind of cool. Star Wars is also something that I always loved. Lord of the Rings is also something that I loved when I was younger. And the funny thing is that when I think about when I was younger, it's like this was completely unreachable. I would never think that I would be able to work with any of these. But it's like nowadays is totally in reach, I would say. like here in Mooncolony, we work with big clients. We do a lot of stuff with amazing IPs. So I already did a bunch of things that I think they're very cool. So it's like uh, when I give advice to people, I would always say focus on the quality of your work. That's the only variable that you is totally in your control, right? And the rest is just yeah, being ready when the opportunity comes. You know.
So out of curiosity here, right? You're drawing this. The first one looked like you were using a pencil type of tool, which may have just been the pencil tool. Now you're drawing much straighter and cleaner lines. And I don't know if you're hand drawing these lines. I could never draw circles, as I know they're not complete circles there, but like, is this all
Me
being
neither.
still hand drawn, or are you using a tool that's kind of helping follow the path?
No, it's all hand drawn, and it's the same brush, but it's just thinner. But it's the same type of brush. I'm not that guy that changes tools too much. You know, changes
Yeah.
brushes and things like that. So usually people ask me what your brush looks like, and it's just like a just a very squished circle or whatever.
So,
So
I mean,
that's it.
I just
I
can't.
actually have some brushes with faces from the team when I want to be fancy. For example, I have this one with my face on it.
Nice. There you go.
So I can draw with this one, no problem.
It's kind of like your instead
It's
of your
all this.
signature, you just draw all the straight lines with your face.
Yeah, it's all the same. Yeah, now I'm drawing with my face, very small.
Next time I play a Supercell game, I'm gonna have to zoom in very far and see.
Yeah, I actually I hit some some of these before, but like they're so incredibly small or so faint that it's impossible to see. But I know they are there, you know. So when I don't know what to draw, I always draw just a face because it's the easiest thing for me to draw. And if I need to draw a hand, I just do like a thumbs up because
That's the
okay.
hardest. You said Fortnite, yeah. So I don't know if you heard. The Simpsons are coming to Fortnite next season, and apparently the Fortnite crowd is upset because they're going to cell shade
Oh,
Fortnite map, and cell shading has obviously a wide degree of what cell shading means, from anime to Borderlands. But I think the Fortnite main players were not thrilled with that, even though it's just going to be for a month, and it'll be
cell
interesting to
shade
see how an art style
the map.
changes. People, yeah, they're going to update the whole map. Apparently, that's speculation right now. The whole map is going to be Springfield.
Oh, okay.
So it's interesting
Seems
how,
fun.
again, even if the gameplay is the same, and even if everything else is the same, it's those visuals that completely can change someone's perspective on the game, and it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, it's like for games, especially big games like this that have big audiences. It's like you know can never please everybody. Some people will think that is the greatest idea. Some people will not like it, but it's fine. Like uh, always, like every time we do a cinematic, I go to the comments section in the video just to see what is the general feedback people will give. So like if they like the art style or not, or if they will notice something. And I would say that most of the time the comments are very nice, but there's always one or two people that complain about something. But it's fine. It's like the gaming community is mostly like that, right?
Yeah,
People are always complaining, but probably it's because they are very passionate about that, right?
yeah. So you just had all your black, thicker lines, and now they're all gone. Is that purpose? On
Yeah,
purpose?
I'm just selecting here an area that I will fill with solid color.
Mm.
So it's like this is generally how my process looks. I just do a simple line, and then I start carving some shapes. that I will fill with the colors I want. So far, it's just random colors because it doesn't matter at this stage, but I will do proper colors now. So it's just selecting this area, and I will put this whatever color, doesn't matter. Now I can just put, for example, the bone part will be like a desaturated yellow type of thing, and the rest can be, I don't know, darker type of color. Of course, like this will not be the most incredible drawing you ever saw, but
We
it's
were
like
expecting perfection. This is so crazy. I mean, this is obviously to you, it's probably nothing fancy, but just having this pop up within a few minutes is for someone that's not creative is insane to see that process.
yeah. I was talking to one of my colleagues, my friends, yesterday about uh, drawing, and he said that he started drawing because he wanted to have some kind of party trick that he could impress people. You know, like uh, getting something like and drawing something from scratch without reference or anything like that. I cannot draw too well without reference, to be fair. It's like I like this one is very very simple. So yeah, I can do that without reference, but in general I will have I don't know, 30 images of different things that I'm referencing to do stuff. So if I would do this for real for a client or whatever, I would have references for the cap, references for the headphones, references for the skull part, reference for the hand, you know, everything. So one thing that I do a lot to get references, take pictures of myself, and a lot of artists do that, you know, because it's the person that you have closer to you is yourself, right? So yeah, I would just take a picture of myself and try to mimic what is in the picture.
Fascinating. Yeah, I think it's funny to hear you say that because I think many people just have kind of, what am I going to create? What am I going to do? Right. And you think someone somewhere out there has the answer, but I think it's just start doing something and eventually you'll figure out where you want to go with that.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I have a friend, a childhood friend, that used to say that copying from a single source is bad, like it's just copying. But if you copy from multiple sources, is reference. You know, it's like research. So yeah, this is how we usually create stuff in illustration. It's just, yeah, you get a large sample of references and you get one thing out of each. You know, it's like, okay, I like the way this person rendered this thing, or like the way this person draws hands, or this pose from this other thing. So yeah, it's all about having a great visual library, you know, that you can pull from.
Yeah.
If you
If you
have
had,
this all it in your mind, is even better, right? Like you have a very good memory, it's even better.
what was there a specific character in gaming history that kind of sparked your interest in this when you were younger? You kept drawing that same character, or
When I was younger, I think one of the first video game characters I draw probably was Mega Man, uh, because the design is very simple in a way, like
Mhm.
with
Blue and
the, yeah, it's just I don't know, let me draw it real quick. I was, I don't know, drawing something like this is the face of the character, and like the arm is something like this with the cannon, you know, it's like drawing just circles and I don't know, like a small stick figure.
look at that. We have
Probably it
two for
was
one deal
something
here.
like this, you know.
I love it. It's so cool. It's I mean, there's just so much, and it's simple, but I mean, the strokes that you used on the skull, like it shows character to it, basically, right? Like you could, you can see that texture and feel that texture, and it's took you 20 minutes to do this, which it was crazy, and then you got your face as the eyes. Love it.
Yeah. Okay, let me just remove the color aberration thing. Where is this? Color dynamics. Get rid of that. Okay, good. Okay, so yeah, do we have like 10 minutes or so, right? Let me see
As
what I
much
can do.
time as you want. If you're drawing, I could sit here and watch this and just poke. But you got much more important things to do. But this is so cool.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue, right? Like, I have so many things to do, and I'm like, okay, I wish I could just draw stupid looking characters all day, but I have to draw some
That's
like
stupid looking.
important characters. Yeah, but the
Where
process I'm using here is basically what I do every time. It's not too complicated, like in terms of steps. It's kind of straightforward.
What would be your next step from here, right? So you're an art director now. What would be that kind of next step, whether it be for you or not, right? But where do you go from here?
You mean as a role?
Yeah, right. You're a senior concept artist, right? That's the title.
No, I'm a lead artist
Lead
at the
artist.
moment. I was a senior concept artist, became a lead,
Gotcha.
and uh, probably next step would be try to become a AD. But like my focus now is doing the cinematic projects, so I'm happy that I actually was able to art direct one cinematic so far, the latest Hearthstone cinematic. They let me art direct that, so it was kind of cool. It was very challenging because, in a way, it's a new experience, and I was also doing the lead part, so yeah, I had to do a bunch, but it was fun. It was very cool.
That sounds like you also want to try. It's not at Mooncolony, but get involved in audio a bit more.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love music. I have a band, so I play guitar. I'm trying to learn how to play drums. So if I ever have the chance to work for a song in one of these cinematics, I would love to do that. Actually, I was able to do a bit of feedback on the song in the latest cinematic we are working on.
Nice.
So yeah, I heard a note that I thought, oh, okay, this is kind of off, half step uh, up than it should be. So I grabbed my MIDI keyboard and said, okay, yeah, they're playing this note, but it sound better if it's this. So yeah, this is the first time I was able to do a feedback on the music. So it's kind of cool.
So cool. I mean, you're learning how to build that whole process, right? It sounds like you have the art, you have the audio, right? It sounds like short animated shorts are gonna be up your alley soon to kind of just create a movie or something like that.
Yeah, actually, let me say something about portfolio. It's like usually what will get you inside a company like Mooncolony is being a specialist in something, because uh, when they are searching for an artist, it would be usually like, okay, we need to have a specific need. We need someone to fill that role. So let's find a portfolio that is exactly what we need, right? So probably this is the easiest way of getting work. But for me, I always like to wear many hats. I actually have a collection of hats, but it's like I like doing different stuff. I like animating. I like comics. I like video editing, music, whatever. So I'm very glad that now I have the chance here at Mooncolony to do a bit of all of that. So yeah, uh, other places maybe they would say something like, "No, you were hired to just paint, so you're just painting." But they let me do a bit of everything. So yeah, I'm very happy about that.
Cool, man. Well, we're wrapping up on time here, right? And I don't want to keep you because you're busy. So let's talk about a few kind of. Let's talk about your drawing here, right? You got yourself as a skull with your eyes as yourself, and this was all designed right in front of our eyes for who our watchers are. We'll have a shorts that follow this up and show, but it's super cool how you built this in Photoshop. Obviously, you're going to still keep going here, and I love it. But first of all, great job on this. Thank you so much for being able to show us this process live. I think again, like I love being a sponge and learning what I can, and just being able to see this makes me feel like I can at least go and try it. And it's going to be miserable and ugly, but like you just inspire this confidence, just to hey, you know what, he did this real quick and he built it out, and I think that's super cool.
Yeah, maybe for you to work in a big studio like Mooncolony, you need to have like a lot of experience and working with specific visual uh, styles that would fit like big IPs or whatever. But I always say that drawing is supposed to be fun first and foremost. It's like if you draw something that makes you laugh a bit, this is already pretty good, you know. So this is the type of thing I usually draw when I don't know what to do. That's why I love streaming, is that okay, this is not real work. I can just draw whatever, and it's supposed to just to be fun, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, after we start like working in this industry, everything can start to kind of lose its magic, you know, because everything is just deadlines and budgets and all of that. So if you can keep that raw energy of just drawing for fun, I think that's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get started in this industry. It's an industry of passion, right? So if you like drawing, if you like coding, if you like designing, right, just start doing it. There's discords, there's tutorials online, there's ways to get started, and again, we just saw this all happen in front of our eyes, which means it can be accessible and done by pretty much at the minimum by anyone, right? And then how good can you get? That's up to you. So you should really just, if you want to do it, just get started with it. Find your
Yeah,
favorite
yeah.
character, whether it be Mega Man, whether it be Mario, whether it be Sonic, right? Just start drawing them and see what you can do. And I loved your comment of find a universe you love, but draw different characters in that universe that don't exist. Does it fit Star Wars? Does it fit The Simpsons? Does it fit Fortnite? Just draw characters that can be in that environment. And like I'm thinking about just going to do that with my son, because that could be fun thing to do.
Oh yeah, for sure. It would be very cool. Something that you can involve the kids to do it is
Yeah, get him
great.
excited about it, right? He loves drawing Pokemon, so I'll start telling him to make his own Pokemon, and let's start having fun with it
Yeah,
and try
the,
and
the,
create that.
yeah.
Um,
When I was a kid, I was always trying that drawing. I did my first comic was my Pokemon story. Like the it was just a ripoff of the anime. Basically, like the characters were almost the same as they are in the anime, but I was trying to create my own stories. You know.
well, love it. And here you are now creating stories for other characters and other games, but you're there. You want to let us know where we can find you and your work, Leoni?
Yeah, you can find me at an Instagram at Leoni Arte. Is like art, but with a e in the last uh,
We'll have a link to it.
Arte. Arte. It's like I'm mixing Portuguese and English now. Sorry.
We'll have a link to it. Don't worry. Anywhere else you want people, your art station or anything like that?
Yeah, just find Mooncolony everywhere. You'll find links to a lot of amazing artists there. Like all projects, you will see the artists that were involved and links for their portfolios. So just find Mooncolony. Mooncolony is pretty easy to find everywhere. Just search for Mooncolony, you'll find it.
Well, we
Okay.
will have links to everything, to Mooncolony, to Leoni, so you can find this information. Check out mooncolony.co. That has a lot of their work on there. You can see who they work with. They're awesome. And we'll, again, have links. I'm going to keep saying it over and over again. Thank you to everyone for joining. We had over 30 people at one point watching, and we're still high up there. So thank you so much for jumping in, asking your questions. We're going to be running different things like this every few weeks here, whether it be audio, design, gameplay, and everything. We want to really understand how people can create and how people can see a bigger vision in gaming. So, Leoni, thank you so much for doing this. It was awesome. Thank you again for everyone for watching.